When the morning begins, most people open their eyes, and immediately their thoughts are not their own. They are flooded by messages, by noise, by distraction. The phone becomes the first teacher of the day. The world enters their mind before their own breath does. But the 1%, they wake up differently. They wake up with control, not with chaos. They begin the day with intention, not reaction. And this is the secret. If you can control the first hour of your morning, you can control the direction of your entire day. Think of the body and mind as a temple. If the first step into the temple is careless, the whole ritual collapses. If the first step is conscious, then the entire day can become a ceremony of awareness. The question is not, how do I gain control? The question is, where do I lose it? And most of us lose it in the first moments after waking up. The 1% live differently because they follow principles that guide their morning like a compass. These principles are not complex, but they require discipline. And discipline, once cultivated, becomes freedom. When you open your eyes in the morning, there is a brief moment, perhaps only a few seconds, when the mind is not yet burdened by thought. It is like the still surface of a lake before the first stone is thrown. But what happens in most lives is that, almost immediately, this silence is destroyed. The phone screen lights up, messages demand answers, news floods in, and the mind becomes a battlefield before the body has even risen from the bed. This is how control is lost. You cannot hope to shape a peaceful day if the very first action is surrendering your awareness to chaos. The truth is simple: if you allow the world to speak before you have spoken to yourself, you no longer live your own life, you live in reaction to others. Silence is not just the absence of sound, silence is presence. It is the conscious return to yourself, before the noise of the world can drag you away. In the Shaolin way, silence is considered a practice of strength. To sit even for a few minutes without distraction is harder than lifting heavy stones. Why? Because silence confronts you with yourself. In those moments you cannot hide behind music, conversation, or devices. You must face your own thoughts, your own restlessness, your own being. And yet, it is exactly in this confrontation that power is born. Just as a warrior trains first in stillness before striking in movement, the mind must be trained in silence before acting in the world. When you begin the day with silence, you reclaim the territory of your mind. Instead of starting on foreign ground, invaded by opinions, judgments, and expectations, you begin from within. The first words of the day are not headlines from a newspaper or notifications from a stranger, but the silent dialogue you hold with yourself. This moment of ownership is the seed of control. Even a short period of silence, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, is enough to anchor you. In that space, you can listen to your breath, notice your thoughts, and let them pass like clouds. You can observe the sunrise not only with your eyes, but also with your awareness. Slowly, this silence becomes not just a pause, but a source of energy. From it, clarity arises. From it, intention takes form. Consider what happens if this silence is absent. The first sound you hear is the alarm. The first movement is reaching for a device. The first thought is comparing yourself to others. Already you are not living in your own rhythm, but in someone else's. Anxiety grows before you even begin your tasks. The day is not yours. It belongs to the world. But if the first act is silence, everything shifts. Silence becomes your teacher. It reminds you that you are not your distractions. It shows you that peace is not something you must chase. It is something you must allow. And when this silence takes root in the morning, it follows you throughout the day, shaping your actions, your decisions, and your presence in every moment that follows. Breath is the most overlooked teacher of human life. It is the first act when we arrive into this world, and it will be the final act when we leave. And yet, somewhere in the middle, most people forget how to breathe. They breathe shallowly, unconsciously, as if life were something automatic and not sacred. But those who master the breath, master themselves. Because the breath is more than just oxygen entering the body. It is the rhythm of your existence. The quality of your breathing determines the quality of your energy, and the quality of your energy determines the quality of your day. If the morning begins with shallow, restless breathing, the entire day carries this same nervous rhythm. But if the morning begins with deep, conscious breathing, then stability, calmness, and clarity flow naturally into every action. In the Shaolin tradition, the very first training is not a kick, not a strike, not even movement. The very first training is always the breath. Why? Because the breath is the bridge between the physical body and the invisible mind. You can train your muscles, but if your breathing is uncontrolled, the mind will scatter like leaves in the wind. On the other hand, if you master your breath, the body and mind align like two rivers flowing together. This is why monks spend hours, even days, perfecting simple breathing exercises, because they understand that to control the breath is to control the self. Through deep inhalation, the body is filled with energy, and through long exhalation, tension and distraction leave the system. The breath becomes the anchor that prevents the mind from being carried away by noise and chaos. Modern life has disconnected us from this wisdom. People wake up and immediately move too fast, rushing, scrolling, speaking, eating, without ever pausing to breathe fully. Shallow breaths create shallow thoughts, and shallow thoughts create shallow living. You cannot expect depth in your actions if you do not first cultivate depth in your breathing. To breathe deeply is to reclaim awareness of the present. Notice how a single deep breath changes your posture, changes the state of your mind, changes the energy in your body. With each conscious inhale you take in clarity. With each conscious exhale you release heaviness. This is not theory, it is practice. And when practiced in the quiet of the morning, it sets the foundation for control. Because your inner energy is now guided by choice rather than by chance. Imagine a warrior stepping into the battlefield with no control over his breath. His sword may be sharp, his armor may be strong, but without steady breathing, his mind will panic and his movements will falter. Now imagine the same warrior calm and steady, inhaling deeply and exhaling slowly, even as chaos surrounds him. His body remains unshaken. His mind remains clear. This is the power of breath. The battlefield may not be filled with swords for you, but every day you step into your own battles, challenges, conflicts, decisions, distractions, and your breath determines whether you enter those battles in panic or in presence. The 1% understand this secret before speaking a single word, before making a single move. They align their energy through the breath. Because once you have command of your inner energy, no external storm can shake your foundation. The body is not separate from the mind. They are two reflections of the same source of energy. Yet many people wake up and treat their body as if it were just a machine to be carried around, not realizing that the way you awaken your body determines how your spirit awakens as well. If the body is stiff, the mind becomes rigid. If the body is neglected, the mind becomes dull. But when the body is moved with awareness, energy begins to flow, and with that flow the spirit rises. This is why the 1% never start their day without activating their body. They understand that before entering the world, they must first awaken their own inner temple. It is not about heavy training or exhausting workouts. It is about movement that connects you with life itself. In the Shaolin monasteries, movement is not exercise, it is meditation in motion. Each stretch, each posture, each flow of energy is designed to harmonize body and spirit. A simple rotation of the arms, a mindful bend of the spine, or a gentle stance can awaken more energy than hours of careless activity. The difference lies in awareness. When you move with presence, you are not just bending muscles, you are releasing blockages, opening channels of energy, and allowing life to circulate freely through you. Many people wake up and drink coffee to feel alive, but monks and warriors know that true energy does not come from stimulants, it comes from circulation. By moving the body, you invite vitality into every cell, and with that vitality comes mental clarity, emotional balance, and spiritual readiness. Think about the river that flows endlessly. If water is stagnant, it begins to rot, to lose its purity. The human body is the same. Stagnation creates heaviness, fatigue, and lack of focus. Movement is the way we prevent stagnation. Just as flowing water keeps itself fresh, even just 10 minutes of conscious movement in the morning can transform the way you face the day. Stretching your back, rotating your joints, practicing qigong or yoga. These are not just physical rituals, they are spiritual alignments. When the body opens, the spirit also opens. And when the spirit opens, life no longer feels heavy, it feels light, as if you are moving in rhythm with the world instead of against it. The 1% protect this ritual because they know that a body in motion creates a mind in harmony. Picture the difference. One person wakes up, immediately rushing, carrying stiffness and heaviness into their day. Another person wakes up, stands still for a moment, and then begins to move slowly, breathing deeply, stretching with intention. Their movements are not rushed, but flowing. By the time they step into their responsibilities, their body feels alive, their breath is steady, and their spirit is awake. Which of these two do you think will carry control into the day? Movement is not just for health, it is for mastery. It is the bridge that allows the body, mind, and spirit to rise together. Without it, you may carry energy, but it will be scattered. With it, you carry energy that is aligned, focused, and unshakable. This is why the practice of morning movement is not optional for the 1%, it is sacred. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it during the early hours of the morning will take root and grow throughout the day. If the first seed you plant is noise, distraction, and comparison, then the soil becomes polluted, and the fruit it bears is anxiety, restlessness, and confusion. But if the first seed you plant is wisdom, reflection, and clarity, then your day grows in alignment with strength and peace. This is why the 1% are careful with what they allow into their mind at the very beginning of the day. Instead of reaching for the endless stream of digital voices, they choose to feed their inner world consciously. The mind, like the body, hungers every morning, and what you choose to feed it determines the quality of your life. In the Shaolin teaching, the morning is seen as a sacred gate between two worlds, the world of dreams and the world of action. At this gate, the mind is still soft, still impressionable. This is the perfect moment to inscribe wisdom, to absorb knowledge, to reflect deeply. When monks wake, they do not seek entertainment, they seek teachings. They recite verses, they contemplate a principle, they immerse themselves in a single thought of depth. Because they know that the first impression of the morning shapes the entire tone of the day. Modern life has made it easy to pollute this sacred gate. Emails, social media, endless distractions. But what most forget is that the mind is not just a container, it is a mirror. Whatever you place before it, it reflects. If the first reflection is chaos, the rest of the day will mirror the same. Imagine a man who begins his day scrolling endlessly through 100 meaningless images. His mind becomes scattered, pulled in many directions before he even leaves his bed. Now imagine another who begins with a single page of wisdom, perhaps a line from a book or a reflection written in his own journal. His mind absorbs something timeless, something that nourishes instead of distracts. Which of these two will carry control into the day? The difference is not in the length of the ritual, but in the intention. To feed your mind does not require hours. Even a few minutes of meaningful input is enough to align your awareness. A single phrase, if contemplated deeply, can carry more power than hours of empty noise. What matters is that the first voice you hear is one you have chosen, not one that has chosen you. The 1% are deliberate in this act. Some read a passage of philosophy. Some reflect in silence and write down their own thoughts. Others listen to teachings that elevate their perspective instead of lowering it. But they all share one discipline. They do not allow the world to feed them before they have fed themselves. This is mastery. Because when you feed your mind first, you are no longer a passive consumer of information. You are an active cultivator of wisdom. And just as the farmer who plants carefully will reap a harvest, so too will the one who feeds the mind with care reap clarity, focus, and strength throughout the day. The majority live in reaction, chasing after whatever the world throws at them. The few live in reflection, building their day from the inside out. The difference lies in this secret: whoever feeds your mind in the morning owns your day. The greatest weakness of the human mind is not a lack of intelligence, but a lack of direction. Most people wake up and scatter their energy into 1,000 different pieces. They think of 10 tasks at once, worry about 100 possible outcomes, and in the end accomplish little. Their mind is like a candle in the wind, flickering, unstable, easily extinguished. But the 1% live differently. They understand that control does not come from doing more, but from doing less with greater clarity. They begin their day by setting one clear intention. This is not just a task on a list, it is a guiding principle that directs their energy like a compass. When the intention is clear, every step becomes purposeful. When the intention is absent, even great effort becomes wasted. In the Shaolin tradition, this principle is mirrored in martial practice. A novice may swing his arms wildly, striking without focus, wasting energy on movements that do not connect. But a master strikes only once, and that single strike contains the weight of discipline, clarity, and power. The same truth applies to life. The person who spreads their attention across too many directions loses strength in all of them, but the one who chooses a single direction channels their energy like a blade. This is the wisdom of simplicity. To set one clear intention in the morning is to gather all the fragments of your energy and unify them into a single current. Instead of chasing distractions, you become like the river that carves stone, steady, focused, unstoppable. Consider how the day unfolds when there is no clear intention. You wake, you react to messages, you jump from one task to another, constantly pulled by urgency, but never guided by purpose. At the end of the day, you feel exhausted but unfulfilled, busy but not effective. Now imagine another day where you wake, sit in silence, and ask yourself, what is the one thing that truly matters today? This question is simple, but it is powerful. By answering it, you place a single stone in the center of your day. No matter how much noise or distraction surrounds you, you can always return to that stone. That stone is your anchor, your reminder, your clarity. And even if you achieve nothing else, fulfilling that single intention brings a sense of mastery, because it was chosen consciously, not dictated by the world. The 1% know that mastery is not about controlling everything. It is about controlling the essentials. When you focus on the essential, you do not waste yourself on the trivial. 1,000 doors may appear before you, but you only need to walk through one. Simplicity is not weakness, it is power. It is the discipline to ignore what does not matter, and to dedicate yourself fully to what does. This is why their mornings are not scattered with endless planning, but centered on one intention. That intention becomes their thread, guiding them through every hour of the day. It protects them from distraction, it shields them from overwhelm, and it allows them to carry a sense of calm power. To set one clear intention is to declare, this day will serve me, not consume me. And in that declaration, control is no longer something you search for, it is something you live. Control is not something the world will hand to you. It is not written in luck, nor is it hidden in destiny. Control is claimed in the smallest, simplest choices you make each morning. One breath, one movement, one intention, repeated again and again, becomes the foundation of mastery. The secret of the 1% is not that they are born stronger, wiser, or luckier. The secret is that they guard the first moments of the day as if guarding the gates to a temple. They do not allow chaos to enter before silence has spoken. They do not allow weakness to rise before strength has awakened. They do not allow confusion to settle before clarity has been chosen. Ask yourself, each morning, who commands my life today? The world or me? And let your actions answer, not your words. Because the one who owns the morning owns the day. The one who owns the day owns the direction of their life. And so the choice is always before you. Will you wake as the 99%, scattered, distracted, already defeated before the battle begins? Or will you wake as the 1%, calm, clear, and in control? The secret is already within you. The only question left is, will you live it?